There are so many skilled trade jobs out there right now. And with about 700,000 tradespeople set to retire by 2030, there's going to be a ton more. Not to mention all the jobs that Canada's big push to build housing and compete in the electric vehicle sector are going to create. In fact, we're so desperate to fill spots that federal and provincial governments are pouring a bunch of money into recruitment, training, grants, and apprenticeships. That means a lot of the time people get paid to learn. And a lot of these jobs pay well, working their way up to 6 figures. Good unions, pensions, benefits, little to no student debt, and almost guaranteed employment. So what's the problem? Why aren't young people signing up? Because it means you have to tell your parents, you're not going to university. First of all, I'm not saying don't go to university. I went to university and it was great, but that's not the only option. What did they want you to do after high school?
They wanted me to just go to university and just get a degree and get a job. That was the plan.
Tamron is 3 years into a degree she promised her high school biology teacher she would never get.
She told me if I never take STEM again, she'll let me pass. And guess what? I'm in biology now at TMU. I proved her wrong.
And do you like it?
No.
So even though Tamron really wants to be a screenwriter, she ended up going to university just like her parents wanted. Her little brother Neamal, on the other hand, he didn't want to go to university. He wanted to go to college. I feel like we need to explain the difference between college and university in Canada. I don't know where you're from. So in Canada, universities offer academic and professional programs, which usually involve more theoretical learning, with undergraduate degrees generally taking about 4 years to complete, then more for masters and PhDs. Colleges tend to emphasize work-oriented learning, with lots of hands-on training through labs, co-ops, internships, and job placements, with diploma or certificate programs generally taking 1 to 3 years to complete. But I have to say that the lines between college and university are beginning to blur, with some colleges now offering degree programs and some universities offering work-integrated learning opportunities. Oh, I forgot to mention that universities generally cost more. How did you actually sit down and tell them what you wanted to do?
Let's just say in a war, right? You don't have one battle, you have multiple battles. So the first time I went and told them I want to do this, it didn't go so well.
What did they say?
Well, they were completely against it. Too much yelling and arguing. So obviously I had to heat it down, try it again, a couple of months later. Again, same results, but obviously I did more research and I gave them more stats. But it softened the blow a little bit, but then they were still no, go to university, get the degree.
Aww. So how many times do you think you had to go back and explain to them and really convince them?
I'm gonna say minimum of 4 times.
4 times? And the last time he had to bring a successful mentor to finally sell it to them. Oh, that's hard. When you're in high school and you have a dream you want, it's already scary to tell somebody what you want to do. And then they were no, you just be crushed. You'd be okay, I guess you just keep it to yourself. The fact that you had the fortitude to be nah, I really want to do this. I'm going to go back in again 4 times. And his parents resisted the idea despite HVAC being a very stable and lucrative career. How much does HVAC people make?
Starting, it would be about 60 to 70, but over the course of your apprenticeship and sometime you're working, it can easily go to 6 figures.
Good job, Neamal. You know what makes him happy? It's what he wants to do. It's good money, guaranteed employment. Why were his parents so dead set against the trades?
Do you know the Game of Life? So when we played the Game of Life, for those who don't know, you have to choose either if you're going to start college or if you're going to start with university. When we played the Game of Life, my parents did not allow us to choose the college route. We all had to choose university.
So career wasn't even an option?
No, career was not an option. They might as well have just scratched it out on the board. If you tried, my parents would laugh and put you on the other part.
So there's this idea about trades that they're a fallback career, that it's something for people who couldn't hack it and get into university. But trades often require more hands-on training, apprenticeships, and certifications than a lot of bachelor degrees. And with technology constantly evolving, training is a continual commitment. So obviously, tradespeople aren't afraid of learning. They're doing it because it's what they want to do. Think about it. Do you really want somebody's fallback career maintaining your energy grid, building your bridges, or making sure your plane stays in the air? So where did this "those who can't get a trade" idea come from? When did it become university for all? There's some consensus that soldiers returning from World War II, entitled to post-war benefits programs, saw university as a magic carpet ride to the middle class. And they passed that mentality down to their boomer kids. Federal funding and grants started pouring in by the 50s. The push for equality saw women and other marginalized groups enrolling more and more year after year. And all of that snowballed to the point where Canada has led the G7 in post-secondary graduates every year since 2006, with 57.5% of the population having a college or university credential. And all this post-secondary education is ultimately a good thing. Countries with more educated populace tend to have higher standard of living, more engaged democracy, and are more competitive economically. But our social hang-up about trades, that it's not really education, is going to cost us in the long run. It's already hurting our ability to compete globally. Projects have stalled and been canceled due to the lack of skilled tradespeople in this country. And it's hurting us financially too, because more and more people are spending time and money getting a university degree than going to a college to train for a job. 47% of college students have already attended another post-secondary institution. So what used to be 4 years of tertiary education is now becoming 5, 6, 7 years. I mean, a bachelor's degree shouldn't be the new high school diploma, right? So how do we get over it already? How do we tell our parents we want to go into skilled trades? First things first, take a breath. Breathe. After asking everybody I know what advice they'd give their 18-year-old self, the number one answer was not to rush into university.
Good thing you finished since June, then 2 months later in September you're going to university. But throughout that year, grade 12, you're too busy studying, you don't even have time to even think about it. I think you should focus on getting good marks, to have the option university open, and take a year to think about it. I wish I took a year.
Second, research. I've put a bunch of general links below to get you started. Find a field that excites you and learn absolutely everything you can about it. Don't go to your parents if you don't know what you're talking about. That's not going to make a strong case. Third, advice. Seek out and talk to people already doing the job. You'd be surprised how willing people are to share their knowledge and help you get started. You might even get a mentor out of it. And it was getting a mentor that finally sealed the deal for Naomal's parents. Now that you've done your research and talked to some professionals, it's time to make a plan. You need to know what the market is for what you want to do, the training it requires, the salary, and most importantly, the future opportunities it affords. Does the trade allow for advancement, further accreditations, management positions, sales, business ownership, etc.? Find out and then map a potential trajectory. Deep down, parents are just worried you're going to limit your opportunities. So if you can show them all the different ways in which you can be successful in these careers, they're going to be super supportive. Show them the amount of thought and research and passion you've put into this decision. If it smells lazy, like you just don't want the schoolwork involved with university, they'll push back more. Show them you found something you're willing to work very hard for.
I'm so happy you told your parents that you wanted to do that. I remember talking about it with Tamron, and I was can we just please let Naomal do what he wants to do?
Literally.
It's really hurtful. You're very strong.
Gosh,
a lot of people kind of falter and then they just do the thing to not hurt anyone's feelings. But at your age, I wouldn't have it in me to go to my parents and just get rejected over and over again saying what I wanted to do. Obviously they do it because they love you and they want the best for you. But you were like, I know myself, I know what I want to do. So I'm really proud of you, Naomal. Can I give you a hug? I remember you when you were little.
What's a parent's greatest fear?
You don't get one, Tamron. I'm just kidding, I love you.
It's that you won't take care of you. They want you to love yourself as much as they love you, so you'll act in your own best interest. I know that sounds like an oversimplification, but it's true. They want to know you will look after you. Demonstrate that, and they'll relax.
Let's rock and roll and just
You're doing the boy part. The rhythm of the drum. This is gonna copyright claim a Disney fun in the sun. Now that all the hard work is done. Shh, everybody one for all, and all for
one.
Everybody.
Oh, no. Everybody rock it. Oh no.
I was like, what do you guys do?
I've seen her
No,
do-
he's.